name's Aaron Slate. I'm from Greenbrier, Tennessee, and in 2007, August 2007, I joined the United States Marine Corps. Served for 5 years as a military policeman. During my time of service, I served in Okinawa, Japan. I went over there in 2010. And while I was in Okinawa, I met Michael Palacio. We were both assigned to military police company under the 3rd Marine Division. We were sent to 9th Engineer Support Battalion to do a deployment to Afghanistan. So Michael and I were both chosen for that deployment. So during that time is when we really got to know one another. Michael was a great guy. He was a family man. He loved his mom, loved his sister, loved his brother. We spent a lot of time together during that time from when we got selected for that deployment going up to the deployment. When we got to Afghanistan, Michael was always in a different squad than me, so we were in the same platoon, but he was in 1st squad and I was in 3rd. So when we got to Afghanistan, they split us up, or they pushed us out as squads. So each squad was out with a team, doing their own thing. So in country, I didn't really see him a whole lot, but there was, so Michael's squad, they got tasked with providing security for a road construction team, and they were working on a major supply route, working their way north. Well, my squad, we were working on the same route, but we were working south. So the goal was for both squads to work on this route and meet in the middle. And ironically, like, my truck was the lead vehicle for our squad, and his truck was the lead vehicle for his squad. We didn't know that at the time, but I remember working and looking up and seeing that squad coming up on the horizon. We had what was called Blue Force trackers, basically like a computer in your truck. And I remember I got on the Blue Force tracker and I was like, hey, who is this? And it was Michael. And I remember when we got close enough, we both got out and started walking, and I hadn't seen him in a pretty good while, so we hugged it out for a few minutes, and caught up and went on about the mission. But anyways, fast forward, so let's see, our deployment was about 7 months long. So about 5 months in, we finished all the work we were doing. Everybody retrograded back to Camp Leatherneck. And we were assigned with this final mission. We didn't have a lot of intel on the area, but it was a big job. Basically, we were building a supply route that connected 2 major supply routes in Helmand Province, Afghanistan. I think the whole thing ended up being about 17 kilometers. But we didn't have a lot of intel. We knew it was going to be a big job. There was a lot of moving pieces, but it really wasn't anything out of the ordinary. And originally, 3rd squad, which was my squad, we were going to go out first. We were going to work 3 to 5 days max, come back. 1st squad, which would be Mikey's squad, they were going to replace us, and we were basically going to flip-flop till the job was done. Well, the last minute, I think it was like a day or 2 before, they switched it up and they said, hey, 1st squad, you're going to go first instead of 3rd. So I remember the night before they pushed out, the night before they pushed out, Michael was getting his team ready, getting his gear ready, getting their truck ready, just making sure everything was in order and everybody, knew what they were supposed to be doing. And that evening, he asked me, he's like, hey, you want to go chow together? I said, yeah, sure. He said, well, I got to, finish getting my gear ready. Do you mind waiting? I said, no, I don't mind. So I went and hung out in the platoon office, and he was taking forever. I remember that. So I went around the motor pool and I started looking for him. I couldn't find, his truck door was open, but I couldn't find him anywhere. So I thought, well, maybe he just forgot about me and he went on. So I left, and we ended up eating dinner that night by myself. And I remember I went back to our hooch where we were staying, and he comes in a few minutes later and he's like, "Thanks for ditching me, man." And I was like, "Well, I looked around forever and I couldn't find you." And that's really the last memory I have of Michael. So anyway, they pushed out in the middle of the night. They got out to this route where they were going to be working, and I don't remember. They were gone. They had been working for 2 or 3 days. They woke up one morning to get ready to start working. Michael's truck pushed out and hit a massive IED, and it killed him pretty much instantly, from what I understand. It also hurt or injured two guys in his team, Jonathan Stevenson and Roger Rua. So the initial reports was Rua couldn't move from the chest down. Stevenson was in really rough shape. For the most part, both of those guys ended up going on to make a full recovery. Stevenson did end up losing a leg from the knee down, but Rua's walking. Both are living pretty normal lives for the most part. Let's see, Michael was killed on March 29th, 2012. So I got out of the Marine Corps. I came home in September of 2012. This is something that always weighed on me. I had a lot of time to reflect, a lot of time to grieve. I always wanted to do something. I always wanted to find a way to tell this story. And something that's really interesting is I remember one time when we were on Camp Leatherneck, we were talking about what we were going to do whenever we got out or whenever we came home, and Michael was like, "I'm going to take my deployment money and we're gonna go to LA or Vegas or somewhere," and he's like, "I'm going to rent a nice hotel and we're going to have a suit and tie party," and he's like, "You need to come, you need to be there." And I was like, "Okay." I was like, "I'll come to your suit and tie party, but you have to come to Nashville and we're going to go hit the honky tonk." So he agreed, but obviously that never happened. So I always wanted to find a way to bring Michael to Tennessee and tell his story. So during my years of reflection, I often wondered, I'm like, how in the world did this guy from Orange County, California, with pomade hair and skinny jeans, be such good friends with a guy like myself, who's from small town Greenbrier, Tennessee. I guess a lot of people would, at least at some point in my life, would probably call me a redneck. So I always wondered, how in the world could we, be so close and be such good friends. But I think, the military does a great job of stripping you from who you are, and they build you back up to a very cohesive unit, to the point where you don't see race, creed, anything like that. Really all you care about is who's there to have your back when you need them, and Michael was certainly one of those people. So what I did, like I said, I wanted to find a way to tell this story. So I started the Michael J. Palacio Scholarship for Diversity Through Service. I know that's a long name. But what I wanted to do, I wanted to find a way to tell this story, to tell how we connect, bring him to Tennessee. So what we do, every year, we give two scholarships, one to a high school student at Greenbrier High School, one to a student at Modena High School in California, which is where Michael went to school. Greenbrier is where I went to school. And we try to reward students who we do look at academics, but that's not what we're primarily looking at. We're looking for kids who are going out and doing volunteer work, who are serving their communities, and through those opportunities, they're engaging with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, different walks of life that they may not normally engage with. So Obviously, this scholarship is very important to me. It's also very important to Michael's family. They're a big part of this scholarship. So we definitely want to be able to keep telling this story, to keep Michael's memory and his legacy alive. But we do that from donations from people just like you, from ordinary people, from the towns of Greenbrier, from the towns of Orange County, former veterans, guys that served with us in our unit. You're the people that make this happen. So if you feel compelled to help us keep this scholarship going, feel free to get in contact with us.